What's up, 7th grade? Mr. Agnos here. This video is for topic 4-4, and now we're going to do some subtraction with some positive and negative numbers. Okay, so this is question number 1. It says, write a subtraction expression for the number line model. So this is a number line, and as we move to the right on the number line, the numbers get bigger, and as we move to the left, the numbers get smaller. Another way to think about it is as we move to the right, or anytime we add, we move to the right. So adding is moving to the right, and anytime we subtract, we move to the left. Right? So moving to the left on a number line means subtraction. Okay? All right, so here it says, hey, we moved to the right 2 units. So we represent that with a positive 2. Okay, so that represents a positive 2. And then now we're going to move to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be a positive 2, which is where I start off, minus 6. So when they say write a subtraction expression, here is our subtraction expression. The reason why it's an expression and not an equation is because we didn't say equals, right? An equation would say equals, and in this case, if you wanted to know what it equals, well, you can just go down right here, and we would see that 2 minus 6 is negative 4. But they just want the expression, so I go down my list here, and there it is. Choice D, 2 minus 6. If you weren't quite sure like what you were doing here, I'm going to go ahead and I got it. Go ahead and hit similar question. And it'll bring up a different problem. Notice how this one looks slightly different. This time, the number that I'm starting with is 1, 2, negative 3. So now my expression is going to have negative 3. And then I'm moving to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So this would be negative 3 minus 6 is my expression. And if I want to know what this is, I can now just look at the number here. Well, this is negative 8, this is negative 10, so this must be negative 9 right here. So again, this is an expression because there's no equal sign. If I add the equal sign, it now becomes an equation. I go down my list here, and there it is. Choice C, negative 3 minus 6. Got it? Okay, I'm going to take a look at number 3. All right, so the big difference here is that they've just arranged the number line vertically instead of horizontally. So if I take a quick look at my number line here, as I move up in this direction, my numbers are getting bigger. So this is the addition direction or the positive direction. If I'm adding, my numbers are going to get bigger. And if I go down, that is the subtraction direction. So my numbers as I move down are getting smaller, or if I subtract, we're going to move down in this direction. Okay, so if I look at the blue arrow, it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this time it says use the number line model to find 4 minus 5. So they actually want us to solve this. So I went up 4 units. Okay, so that's sort of my starting point. And then I'm going to go ahead and count backwards 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's this line right here. Notice they're not writing every single number. If they tried to write every single number in here, it would get really messy. So and hard to read. So because this is 0 and this is negative 2, well, I know that has to be negative 1. So 4 minus 5 is equal to negative 1. On my keyboard, the negative sign is the hyphen. It's next to the 0 on my number line at the top of the keyboard. So I put in my negative, I put in 1. Got it. Okay, we'll do a couple more. All the problems are just kind of slightly different. They're all kind of the same, but they're all kind of slightly different. All right, this one definitely looks different. It says find the value of the expression 6 minus a negative 2. All right, in this case, the big difference between this question and all the other questions is in this situation, we are subtracting a negative number. We're not subtracting a positive number. So I'm going to rewrite it. 6 minus a minus 2. All right, there's a couple different ways you can think about it. I think the easiest way is just to say, hey, if I subtract a negative, it is the same as add addition. And what some students do is say, hey, if I take this subtraction here, and I put them together, right? I put these two together, one goes this direction, and I flip this one, and it becomes a plus sign. So anytime we subtract a negative, it just becomes addition. So these two expressions are exactly the same. This looks really confusing. We all know this is 8. So 6 plus 2 is equal to 8. Well, 6 minus a negative 2 is also equal to 8. If you do want to use a number line for this, I'll go ahead and make a number line. Here, I'm going to put 0 like over here. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I could put more lines and so on, but I think I'm good. All right. So the number I'm starting with is 6, right? So they usually have us start here at 0, and then I go over to 6. And I'll go ahead and put a nice dot there. Okay, so that's where I'm starting. Now I told you earlier that when we subtract, we're going to move to the left on the number line. Right? So if I'm going to subtract, that is awful. If I'm going to subtract, I'm going to move to the left. Well, that's if you're subtracting a positive number. But in this case, I'm subtracting a negative number. So it's almost like, yeah, I want to move to the left, but I'm walking backwards. I'm putting a car in reverse. Imagine, okay, I'm at 6, and we're going to subtract, so I would turn my car around and start driving back the other direction. But because I'm subtracting a negative, I'm actually not driving forward. I'm reversing and moving backwards the other way. So we actually end up going backwards to positive 8. I wish I had a way to move that arrow backwards. But we still end up, I'll kind of do it like, I'll put an arrow facing that way because we're subtracting, but then we're going in reverse. I'm backing up. And I end up right here at 8. So, if that incredibly convoluted example makes sense to you, then go for it. I think the easier way is just to remember that, hey, if I subtract a negative, it's the same as adding. If I take this line, and I put them together, they become this positive right here. So I go up to my line, my answer, I put in 8. All right, and I think I got time for one more. Again, I realize that maybe that second part might have been confusing. We can talk about it in class too. Make sure you're asking questions in class, either out loud or via the chat. All right, last problem I'm going to go over is number 10. This one has, this one, actually I'm not going to do number 10. This is, we're just doing 4 minus 7, and the number line is arranged vertically. So I go 4 units this way, then I turn around, and I would end up right here at negative 3. Got it. Oh, I've not completed the question. No, I don't want to leave. What haven't I? Oh, the man is, okay, this is asking me to interpret what was happening here. This guy was in an elevator. He went up 4 floors, then he went down 7 floors. So if we think about this, the man is 3 floors below where he started, right? He started here, and he's now 3 floors below where he started. We don't measure floors in negatives, right? We don't say he's negative 3 floors below where he started. We just say, hey, he's 3 floors below where he started. Got it. All right, so here's one more with the double negative situation. So I'll go ahead and I'll rewrite it. 5 minus a negative 3. If I subtract a negative, it is the same as adding. So I'm just going to take this line, and turn them into a plus. 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. And this one is a who is correct type question. Kara claims it's 8. Nariam says it's 2. So Kara is correct. Got it. Okay, guys. Hopefully this video will prove helpful. Please make sure you're asking questions in class, either out loud or in the chat. And I'll see you guys soon.